Jeff, thank you very much. And Pat, it's an honor to be here with you again. Jeff made the comment that I'd been here a number of times, and that's true. But I'm not sure that I've been here with any more important work to do than to announce the success of our legislative session and the passage of this piece of legislation that I think is going to make a big difference. With that said, it's always a pleasure to come into Houston and talk with people who are making a major difference in the economy, and not just locally, but also across the state. And being the energy capital of the world, you're making a difference internationally as well. You know, we started this legislative session with a simple goal to balance our budget without jeopardizing the jobs-friendly climate that we worked so hard the entire decade of the 2000s to foster. And getting to that point at the end of the session was anything but simple. But at the end of the day, the 82nd legislature, a legislature that spent $15 billion less than was budgeted the previous two-year cycle, and they maintained essential services. They kept the taxes low. They preserved more than $6 billion in the rainy day fund. And along the way, we took every opportunity to improve the economic climate of a state that is already setting the national pace for job creation, with nearly half of America's net new jobs created in the past 2 years created right here in our state, and that's according to the Dallas Fed. And the fact is, in today's fast-moving global competition for those employers and those good jobs, you know, the fact is, even if you're leading the pack, you better be finding new ways to improve. You better be finding ways to even be more competitive, because you need to be looking over your shoulder, because there's somebody going to be catching up on you. And over the last decade, we've taken some major steps to reform our legal system, but there was still plenty of room for improvement. And that's why I declared that we needed a loser pays component in our court system, and actually I added it as an emergency item. Thanks to the leadership of legislative leaders like Representative Creighton and Senator Huffman, hard work of so many others, including Senator Duncan of the High Plains area from Lubbock, loser pay is now part of the Texas legal system. And this bill that we will ceremonially sign here in just a moment, House Bill 274, provides defendants and judges with a variety of tools that will cut down on frivolous claims in Texas and expedite justice for the deserving. HB 274 gives judges the ability to dismiss a frivolous lawsuit immediately if there is no basis for the suit, just as it is, Pat, in 42 other states, with the prevailing party able to recover their attorney's fees from their opponent. Also, trial judges who think a question of law can indicate, or I should say, end a case now, they can ask the appeals court to decide the matter, eliminating the need for very lengthy and costly trial before that question is decided by a higher court. HB 274 also creates an expedited civil action for cases involving less than $100,000, which will really cut down the court time and court cost in those smaller cases. The bill encourages timely settlements by penalizing those parties who turn down a fair settlement offer in search of what we refer to as that home run when they go to trial. And it's thanks to these new reforms. Texas employers are going to spend less time in court, more time creating jobs. They're going to invest more of their resources in expansion and growth instead of wasting their time on these extended, frivolous lawsuits. It's a step that will take Texas forward. It's a step that will make Texas even more attractive, welcome, when people are deciding where do they want to live, where do they want to raise their family, where do they want to grow their business. People from all across the world know that the state of Texas is a place you can come. You can risk your capital, have a good chance to have a return on investment, not be sued frivolously. You think about what we did in 2003 and the medical malpractice tort reform that Dick Weekly and those of you associated with Texans for Lawsuit Reform were involved with. What it's meant to communities across this state that didn't have an emergency room doc, and today they do. It's really about sending the message that Texas is truly open for business. And I want to congratulate everyone in the process, and some of you in this audience were engaged with this, and thank you for your help. Independent organizations across the state, certainly our hats are tipped to our members of the legislature who courageously carried on and delivered this. This is an important bill for Texas, and it holds the promise for many more great things in the future of this state. And now I'd like to introduce the author on the House side of this bill, Representative Brandon Creighton.
Thank you, everyone. I want to thank the Greater Houston Partnership for hosting us and for this great press conference to highlight House Bill 274. As the governor mentioned, it's a historic day for tort reform and for the Texas economy. We all have heard from economists and legal analysts alike that tort reform is tied directly to the success of businesses. And business success and job creation is a key component, as everyone knows and agrees, for the Texas economy. And the Texas economy is a key component to national success. As we all know, we're not in a vacuum in this global economy. To be able to claim that in 2010, Texas created 2.5 times the number of jobs that the more populated state of California created is a wonderful thing. And even the Los Angeles Times recently noted, the LA Times actually wrote a positive article on Texas called a Texas Miracle, highlighting the fact that that we were not only an economic engine for job creation, but the success model and the framework that had been put in place by leadership, much from Governor Perry's efforts in '03 with medical liability reform, in '05 with asbestos litigation reform, and now with a loser pay provision within a motion to dismiss practice for frivolous lawsuits. And the latest, the one that we are here to highlight today, House Bill 274, is so important to small businesses in Texas, which we all know make up the largest percentage of businesses, mom and pops every day working to keep their doors open, to retain jobs, and to create jobs. And that's what it's all about. That's what the Greater Houston Partnership highlights on a monthly basis, on a daily basis, and all of us here have the same goal in mind, which is to keep Texas strong and to provide the economic framework to bring opportunity to Texas for all those around this country that want to share in it. The governor's leadership, I can't say enough about, and for having the vision to incorporate a loser pay provision in this tort reform legislation, and Senator Huffman and her leadership in the Senate. I'm a fan and an admirer of her work, and it was a pleasure for me to be able to work with her in step as she navigated this bill through a very difficult Senate in this session for lawsuit reform. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the governor, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Brandon. Brandon, well said. from time to time someone comes along and they're mature past their years from the standpoint of the time they've spent in this case, the Texas Senate. And I had Joan Huffman carrying this piece of legislation and being able to impact and carry through a tough body. I will tell you, she absolutely, without a doubt, was a real heroine from the standpoint of those of us who truly believe that you free people from frivolous lawsuits, and whether it's the cultural arts that have flourished so well in this state, and particularly in this city, where people have gotten to keep, Leo, more of what you work really hard for, and in turn contributed it to, in this case, the cultural arts, or wherever you might want to put your money. I think it's one of the great stories of the last decade, as we've seen this state truly become a beacon, a place where people wanted to live. And one of the great reasons that happened is because of this senator who carried this piece of legislation, Senator Huffman.
Thank you very much, Governor Perry, for those kind words. And of course, I'm honored to be here today. And I see a lot of friends in the audience. Thank you all for being here. You know, it was quite a challenge to get this legislation through this legislature, this session. But I have to say that legislation like this gets passed because of strong leaders. And I think that Governor Perry has shown, as he's served these many years as governor, that he has a real commitment to these issues. If we look back at '03 or '05 or the last session, I think I can genuinely say that we couldn't have gotten this legislation through without the fact that, you know, Governor Perry was doing everything he could and working behind the scenes to get this done. And I think I can speak for him and others who worked so hard for this legislation. There's many groups in the room that worked hard behind the scenes, is because we could all see that it was good for Texas. I think we know that the reforms that have been made in the past has made Texas a better place to live, a better place to work, a better place to raise our families, whether it's more jobs created, more businesses moving here, more doctors coming back to practice medicine in Texas. We know that tort reform has made Texas better. And I look forward to seeing this bill implemented as the months move forward, and seeing the good benefits that come forward by the implementation of this legislation. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Governor Perry, for your leadership and helping to make Texas the great place that it is today. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Excellent. Very much. God bless you. Bless you.